Subscribe to Husbandry before we begin, because what we're about to uncover sits beneath the feet of every ancient forest, yet is almost completely ignored by modern land management. Long before compost piles, fertilizers, or soil amendments, forests were quietly manufacturing perfect humus year after year. When I studied this hidden layer and began copying it in a garden setting, the soil transformed faster and more completely than anything I had tried before. This is not theory. It is the biological engine that has kept forests fertile for thousands of years. Why old forests never seem to run out of fertility. Walk through an ancient woodland and, well, you notice something immediately. The soil is dark, crumbly, cool and alive. No one tills it, no one fertilizes it. Yet trees grow massive, understory plants thrive, and nutrients cycle endlessly. The secret lies just beneath the surface. In a thin but powerful layer, most people honestly step over without noticing. This layer is not raw leaf litter, and it is not finished soil. It sits between them, acting as a living bridge. How the forest floor builds a layered system instead of a mixed one. Old forests operate on layers, not mixing. Leaves fall and form a loose surface blanket. Beneath that sits the fermentation layer, partially decomposed plant material threaded with fungal strands. Below that is humus, dark, stable and rich. These layers are rarely disturbed. Each performs a specific role, and together they create perfect conditions for nutrient cycling. When gardeners dig and mix soil, they collapse this system. Forests avoid that mistake, and that is why their humus is so stable and long-lasting. So, why is it that fungi, rather than bacteria, dominate the humus-building layer? Well, let's explore that together. In forest soils, fungi do most of the heavy lifting. Mycorrhizal networks break down tough plant fibers like lignin that bacteria struggle with. As fungi digest this material, they bind soil particles together into aggregates that hold water and nutrients. This fungal dominance is the reason forest humus resists erosion and retains fertility for decades. When I began encouraging fungal growth by leaving woody material and leaf litter intact, soil structure improved dramatically. Moisture retention increased and, well, plants rooted more deeply with less effort. How slow decomposition creates stable carbon instead of quick rot. Compost piles aim for speed, you know. Forest humus builds slowly. The hidden layer under old forests decomposes at a measured pace, converting organic matter into stable carbon compounds that persist in soil. This slow process prevents nutrient loss and creates a long-term reserve plants can draw from. So I replicated this by layering shredded leaves and small twigs on the soil surface and, well, just leaving them undisturbed. After a season, the material underneath had transformed into dark, earthy humus without ever being turned. Now, why are soil animals essential to this process, you might wonder? Earthworms, beetles, mites, and honestly, countless microscopic organisms move material between layers. They don't mix aggressively. Instead, they transport gently, maintaining structure while increasing contact between organic matter and microbes. You see, this subtle movement is what allows humus to form without compaction. After introducing leaf mulch and, avoiding disturbance, soil fauna returned on their own. Worm castings appeared at the surface, and the soil gained this spongy resilience that, resisted both drought and heavy rain. How ancient farmers learned from forests instead of fighting them. Historically, agricultural systems near woodlands often mimicked forest processes. Farmers would gather leaf mould from forest floors, using it to enrich their fields and gardens. In some systems, fields were left fallow under natural vegetation to rebuild humus in much the same way as the forest does. This knowledge, was practical, not romantic. Using leaf mould from an old hedgerow, I went ahead and inoculated a garden bed with forest organisms. The response was honestly immediate. Plants showed steady growth, without any spikes or deficiencies. So, here's how to recreate this hidden forest layer in a garden or field. The method is, quite simple, but does require a fair bit of patience. Stop mixing soil altogether. Instead, apply organic material in layers rather than incorporating it. Favour leaves, wood chips, and coarse plant matter over finely shredded inputs. It's important to keep the surface covered all year round. Allow fungi to dominate by minimizing disturbance and avoiding too much nitrogen. Within a year, the soil begins to darken and loosen, and within a few seasons, humus accumulates in a way that no compost pile can ever quite match. Well, why do modern systems struggle to create real humus? It's a tricky question, but, much of it comes down to the way we've changed our approach to soil and organic matter. Modern methods often focus on speed and efficiency, but unfortunately that can mean missing out on the slow, complex processes that actually build true humus in the soil. So, despite our best intentions, we're often left with soils that just can't match the richness and resilience of those managed with more traditional techniques. Speed and control really dominate modern soil practices. But real humus, it requires time and a bit of trust in biological processes. Forests, for example, prove that fertility does not demand constant input, just consistent conditions, really. So, why does this knowledge matter for resilience and long-term productivity? It's a good question, and it's more important than most people realize. As soils degrade globally, it's clear that systems which build stable humus are honestly essential. This hidden forest layer stores carbon, holds onto water, and feeds plants, all without any external inputs. It truly is the foundation of ecological resilience. If you're interested, go ahead and subscribe to Husbandry for more deep-dive explorations into the practices that sustained land and people long before modern shortcuts. And, share this guide with anyone who wants soil that actually improves with age instead of just wearing out. The forest already solved the problem. All we have to do is pay attention.